Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, a mirror that helps you take a selfie, a lamp with attitude, and turn your paper airplanes into a drone. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, it is time for another episode of the KickCast, the podcast where we go out, find you cool crowdfunding projects, and let you know if you should backtrack or sack them. My name is Ktdata, and I am one half of the show, and joining me is a man who is so dedicated into his craft, both educating students and making podcasts, that no matter what happens, when you find a picture of him on the internet, he is in stoic thought. The one and only Drew Tyler. How you doing, Drew?
That is me. That is me to a T. Every day, all day long. That's my thought.
Like when I saw this picture, I'm like, I have to show it off on the podcast, just because I'm like, he's so deep in thought, and part of me is wondering if he's thinking about the next podcast he's going to make, or he's like, should I fail that punk kid that annoyed me during lunch?
Yeah, exactly. The one that was heckling me in the middle of my faculty meeting, that's the one. He's out. He's gone. No, that was a shot that Rubio took right at the, gosh, I don't even know. He was kind of walking through the hallway, and he's like, hey, you listen to podcasts. I'm doing a story about podcasts. I was like, all right, here's what I look like when I'm listening to a podcast.
So stoic and deep in thought.
Yeah, so I mugged up for that one.
Oh, that was great. When I saw him, like, yep. That I need to resurface that on there.
Thanks for bringing that back.
Maybe one of these days I'll go back and resurface the yo-yo video. On that. All right. So if this is the first time you guys ever watched this show, first of all, welcome. We're on episode 82, which is insane if you guys think about it.
It is nuts, especially doing an every other week show. Yeah. I mean, that makes a long time.
Yeah, it's been a few years since we've done it, and I love every episode. So before we go into our projects tonight, we got some news. And the first bit of news is you always hear these disaster stories, right? And especially in these past couple months, you've probably, especially TechCrunch and stuff, have kind of been reporting about all these projects that are failing to deliver their projects.
Right.
Like, I think the most recent one was this 3D printer that they're about to file for bankruptcy on there, what they were doing is they're actually doing pre-sales for the project so they could actually get enough money to build the rest.
It makes
you know, the coolest cooler, the number 2 most funded crowdfunding project is having manufacturing delays right now because they can't get the right parts for their blender. So people are a little worried about that. Just big things like that. So what Kickstarter did, and of course they went out and found an independent person to actually do this analysis because people would not believe them if they did it internally, right? Like you're biased. So what they actually did was they went out to Professor Ethan Mollick from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, and they asked him to conduct an independent study on there. So they made it very clear that no matter what, they would publish whatever findings he found, whether it be positive or negative. And they said they would have zero influence.
That's good.
On the
that
report.
Does not happen as often as it probably should in the research world. When somebody funds a research or goes to look for data, way too often it's like, whoa, that didn't turn our way. Let's push that one under the couch.
And they made it clear that, hey, we did see this paper before it got published, but we did not change. We weren't allowed to change it. We could say stuff, but he would not change what he found. So that's one thing I want to make clear, because I know people are like, well, he got paid by Kickstarter, so of course he's going to make it favorable. They tried to make it as unbiased as possible, short of having somebody do this by themselves without contacting them.
Right.
So
they've got to open up that data, so it totally makes sense.
Yeah. So how they did it was they actually took 456,751 people who were confirmed backers. They went out and sent out surveys to them. And what it turned out was they got about, on average, 7.2 backers were surveyed per project that they analyzed. And the response for the projects were about 30,000. So that's about half of the projects they looked at. So they looked at roughly 60,000. I'm rounding these numbers. If you really want to see the exact numbers,
they are granular. Get down there.
Go to our show notes, and I'll link you to the post that has all of this information. And from that post, they actually link you to the actual research paper he published. So
which is cool.
That's where I always. If you don't want to trust what Kickstarter says, you can even go more nitty gritty and read more of the actual science that's on there. So, and then the way they determined that if a project failed to deliver its project was if the backers answered they never expected to get what was promised, or they did receive the reward, but it wasn't what they were promised. So there's two ways of failings: that they didn't get their stuff at all, or what they got was not what they expected.
So that if that happened, they called it a fail.
Failures.
Got it.
So what they found out is, and keep in mind, this is just for Kickstarter. It's not for crowdfunding in general. So these numbers may be different for other sites. I imagine Indiegogo's is actually a little higher because just of past experience and
because you've been burned so many times,
and the quality of projects that are on there just seem a little bit lower on there. So what happens is about 9% of Kickstarter projects fail to deliver rewards. So that's about 1 in every 10 projects you can expect to have failed on there.
Which is actually, to me, kind of expected. Like 1 out of 10 makes sense.
It's not that bad. So depending on how you look at it, it's not that high, but some people are like, wait, 1 out of 10 on there. I can tell you from my experience, I am well below that 1 out of 10. And believe me, I have, am I up? I'm probably almost to 100 projects I've backed on there. And I've never had any, well, I've had like 1 burn me on there, 1 that was on borderline burning me, but it didn't.
But it came through eventually.
It came through. They were a little slow, but it came through. And they also, this was interesting. I thought that the technology section or the design section would be higher, but that 10% or that 9% is pretty consistent throughout all the categories. There are some categories that are actually a little higher. One of them actually being the technology one on there. The other ones being food, film and video, and crafts. They're a little above 10%. Photography is about right on there.
Yeah, not surprising.
And that's actually me being generous by using, because he actually broke it out, his definition of failures, into broad, middle, and narrow. So the broad one was, I think if 1 person said they weren't happy, that was
considered that broad. A fail?
Yeah. If 1 person considered it was fail, so out of the about 7 people per project they had, if 1 out of that 7 said it was failed, he puts it into the broad category. Now the narrow one was with all the backers agreeing, none of them go over 10%, and they're actually closer to 5, so 5-6% on there. So that kind of gives you an idea on what gets delivered. So he found that. He also found out, this is important, if you're making a project or if you're looking to back a project, that projects that raise less than $1,000 fail the most often. So if you put that into perspective, and even with my personal data, the 1 project I got burnt on, they only wanted $250,
which is not that much. And how much did they end up going for the whole project? Do you remember what they ended up getting?
They got like almost exactly $250 on there. So
I wonder if that just relates to just seriousness of this, the venture. Like, hey, we only need a little bit of pocket change. Then really, are they that serious about making it, achievable, as opposed to somebody that says, all right, we need about 15,000 to do this right. You know what I mean? That's interesting.
Yeah. And then the last one, this is really interesting, is there are 2 versions of failures: good failures and bad failures on that. So what happens, what he means by that is, when he looked into it, that the numbers indicated that the good failures are people who don't expect to get their project, but they totally understand why the project failed. Companies spent all their money on R&D, or they just ran out of grossly underestimated stuff. They totally get it.
Yeah, here's a sad one that was also kind of a good failure, but Soul just launched one in Indiegogo for their wireless relays. They were like wireless buds. And after we backed it and we had ordered, or at least put it in and said, yeah, we'll do it. They made their goal, but they found out on the production line that 2 of the 3 colors they were planning had major flaws, and they could not further produce those 2 colors of relays. And so they asked everybody, hey, this crap happened. We can't get past this. Do you want to get this color that we do have, or would you like a refund? And so it was a very upfront, very clear. They're very sorry. It was very contrite. This sucks. We can't fix this right now. And they kept us updated every 2 weeks or so. But lucky for me, I got a pair of mint ones for my wife, and she loves them.
The funny thing is, I was on a borderline of picking up those and using them as cheap comms, because they have intercom systems in them.
Yep, that would probably work.
I was so close to backing that project just to get that
Yeah, out of the three colors, one like two out of three colors did not get produced
Mhm.
just for production reasons.
Yep. So you only got one pair? You haven't
I
tried?
only did get one pair.
Oh man, I was hoping you'd get like two, and then I'm like, how'd the comms work? Is it worth it if I invest that as cheap comms
I don't know, but Peach is loving them.
on there? So that's really good information to know. So even if you fail, I think part of it is communication. Keeping transparent communication with your backers will leave you more into that positive kind of failure. Because out of those positive failures, I think 17% of people were willing to back a project from that creator again
Yeah, that makes sense.
on there. So that's just some kind of information to think about in terms of Kickstarter fulfillment. Because anytime I talk to people about crowdfunding, like, aren't what happens if people just run off with your money? They'll raise millions and millions of dollars. Um, what are you gonna do? And I always have to tell them, one, most projects don't raise millions and millions of
Right?
dollars on that. You just hear about the ones that raise that much. And two, most of the time the backers come, or the project creators do come through with their things, and part of it is just being smart on
Right.
what you back. And I think that that $1,000 threshold may be a good kind of qualification if you're thinking about backing a project or not
Good idea.
on that. So those are informations about the Kickstarter fulfillment rewards. The other thing that I always hear, and I've never been able to quantify this, and this is not really hard. This is a way, but it's just a snapshot of information on there. But people have always asked me, is like, when is crowdfunding going to be mainstream? When is it going to get big? And I always tell them it's growing, but I could never throw numbers at them.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, it's definitely been growing. I would consider pretty much it's jumped the shark. I think it's there. I think
Yeah.
it's people are more
Mhm.
more apt to actually do something about it, like actually participate in one of them, as before it was like I've heard of this thing and my friend did it, but now it's like
Yeah.
they might actually do it.
It might be from just because I live in a world of science. People want hard numbers, and this is kind
True.
of probably one of the first things that I've actually seen hard numbers. This company called Blurt, which they themselves are actually trying to get equity crowdfunded on their stuff. What they do is they actually give you metrics on social media. So what they did is between November 26th and December 2nd, they analyzed over 118 tweets or posts on Twitter mentioning crowdfunding, and they did some analysis on it. And this is where we get a little bit science and numbers and all that
Do
good
like
stuff
science and numbers.
on there. So what they did was they broke down those 118 tweets and kind of analyzed what kind of information they found from it. So crazy enough, the closer to December, it kind of went up. On there, I don't know why. Maybe it's because projects tend to launch more at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the month.
Right.
On that, so what they did was they broke down the accounts. So 64% of the accounts were business accounts, 22% were males, and 14% were females on that. So there's a big
Okay.
shift that businesses are, which makes sense because most people will start an LLC or something, or a company, to put their crowdfunding projects on there. It doesn't limit on that. But what was great is about 82% of the tweets were expressing a positive opinion, while only 18% were expressing a negative opinion. So people are going to be like, how in the world do you know if it was positive or negative? So they actually broke down, they have a 10-point scale going from -5 to 5, -5 being the most negative, 5 being the most positive. And they analyzed the structures of what was said in the tweets, and they found out what emotions were being expressed through words on there.
I love that stuff. Honestly, sentiment online to me is probably where I'd get my doctorate if I were to go back at any point soon. It would be sentiment. I love that idea of being able to take what is somewhat qualitative data and turn it into with a variable, like be able to get close to be like, this is the feel. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So they broke it down to emotions of love, fear, confusion, sadness, disgust, happiness, thankfulness, anger. I feel like I'm listing off the cast of Inside Out.
Yep.
On there. So Drew, what do you think out of all of those, assuming that you're not looking at the page, which emotion was the largest of the pie?
I am not looking at those. I would have to say that it's was one of them excited? Or
No. So it was love, fear, confusion, sadness, disgust,
okay,
happiness, thankfulness, anger.
most of them I think are gonna be love. Is it just feels like so many more are just negative, and I think that since it's mostly positive, I don't know. That's my guess.
Close. Love was probably about second or third as I'm eyeing the chart. The
Hmm.
number one, and it was at 72% was thankfulness because people are tweeting out, "Hey, thanks X company for delivering your project. I appreciate this project that got delivered," or
Oh,
thank you
oh.
at Veronica Mars for making another movie, things
Do
like
you
that.
think? Do you think that they had? I mean, that makes some sense, but I find that with that much thankfulness, could it possibly be uh, campaigners thanking backers?
It could
Like,
be, but
like if that's included in
but
there,
the
then there'd
but
a
let's
lot.
not forget there is a well that I ignore, but I don't know if other people ignore or not. After you back a project, there tends to be links that will auto post for you if you want to share
True,
with us.
true.
So that, I mean, that could be part of it where they design the message like that. I mean, even Amazon has that. I've never had the urge to share out what I just bought because, I mean, nobody
Right,
really
right.
wants to know that I just bought 20 pounds of toilet
We
paper
don't need to know. We don't need to know.
on there. So that's what's great about it. And then they even broke down the words themselves. And this may actually lean a little bit more towards equity crowdfunding. The problem with this analysis is when you say crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding or reward based crowdfunding, they're all the same. In there is
Hmm?
that it comes out profitable businessmen, profitable, earn, and thanks are some of the largest words that were found
That's
in each of
so
these tweets.
strange. That's surprising some data right there. That's surprising me.
What's great about it is there's one common theme though. They were using social media. These companies, these businesses were using
Right.
social medias to connect with their fans. I just said medias. I'm gonna go shoot myself now. Um,
But yes, that's precisely what they're doing.
on there, so that's one thing. If you want to think, if you're making a project, use social media to your advantage. Use it to connect with your fans, and that's where you're gonna find your diehard fans.
And don't use the word profitable. That's just weird.
Yeah.
Profitable.
What's even more interesting is they broke down the largest influencers, which are still companies on there, and you can see these brands: Mashable, The Guardian, Forbes Technology.
Mm.
This is the only one that I don't know is Elmun Elmin does on there. Probably somebody famous that I should know, but I don't. And Fortune Magazine. Those are your top 5 heavy Twitter influencers on there. So
It's
if you,
really interesting though.
yeah, so if you're interested, those are the guys you should reach out to. This just tells me we got to step up our tweeting game so we can show up on this list.
We got some work to do, friends.
I mean, I got to compete against 6 million followers on Mashable. Oh man.
Oh man. Oh
So
man.
I mean it. Okay, our news section may have been a little number heavy, but I think it's important to have concrete data.
You gotta love data. Yeah, you gotta love it. It's who you are, KT.
Yeah, it is who I am. So that's our news. So we'll go into our first project of the night on there. And so Drew, you, you I wouldn't say you take a lot
Yes.
of selfies, but
Yeah. No, I
you
really
take some,
don't.
right?
Once in a while.
Once in a while.
The problem is I would probably selfie myself on Instagram a lot more than I do, but I run Instagram for another company, and since I only have like one
You're
login,
too lazy to swap.
Monday to Friday is theirs, and then I might selfie on a Saturday. So I would do more
On there.
because I think I'm hot.
So how do you do it? Do you do the straight at you, or you do the angle up on there?
Yeah, I'll
do
shoot.
or do you do up the nose, which I always think is interesting when people do that
No, I'm always out here. I'm out here,
out there. So
so I can be pensive.
have you ever wanted to kind of do a selfie where like I want to strike a pose, flash some gang
Oh
symbols
yeah,
or
I would
something.
totally.
But you can't, right? Because one hand's always there.
You always have to do this.
And then there's always the question of lighting and stuff because people forget that it takes a lot of work to do a selfie, right?
I often when I'm shooting, I'll hold my finger like this so I can see the shadow. See this, and I will walk around wherever I'm taking a picture and look for the shadow fall, and then move my face to that like best zone so I don't get like this crazy shadow face. But when I selfie, I do the same thing. I hold it out and I'll spin around looking for backgrounds and for lighting. It's true.
On there. So this project will help you. It is the selfie mirror. So it is the world's first smart mirror. Okay, it might not be the world's first smart mirror, but it is a smart mirror.
I've never heard of a smart mirror, so it is my
on
first
there.
smart
So
mirror.
what happens is actually a built-in HD camera, and it has LED lights along the rim of it. So then you don't have to worry about your lighting or anything because it's already there. And it has an Android-based operating system in there, so that's where you can load up your. I'm hoping that they let you load up Instagram and like Twitter and all your.
Do you see
social
my
medias.
skeptical face here? Do you see this?
It's a mirror, dude. It has a camera in it. And
show me more.
You can hang it on the wall on there, and it allows you to record video, allows you to play music, and even make Skype calls and stuff because of the Android-based operating system. That's why I'm assuming that you can load up different apps. And on it, there's a little like touchscreen display, and that's where the Android-based system is, and you can kind of control the way you run it on there, which is cool. As let's see, and the reason why I'm not as skeptical because Guy Kawasaki and Jason Calacanis, which are two big names in Silicon Valley, they like it.
They got little quotes for you.
Yeah, so they like it on there. What's cool is they even have this remote system. So even if you're not home, you can turn on the camera. Which sounds a little creepy, but you can have it on as kind of a security camera if no one else is at home.
Walking by.
Yeah, your wife may wonder why you always have it on, but that way you can keep an eye on the house. Keep an eye on the house and make it security. They claim these are hi-fi speakers, but at 15 watts, I'm a little skeptical about that.
Yeah, I don't want to call them hi-fi. Sorry, guys.
They're also
put a nice subwoofer in the back and just break the mirror.
Yeah, they're also trying to build like a smart home system on there, but I think this is actually a pretty solid idea.
So let me get this right. Look at those specs that you've got up right now. So we're talking about taking an Android device, pulling the camera out and putting it front and center, and then taking the light, what would be like the flashlight, and making it a permanent around the perimeter light.
Yep.
Soft
so
light.
it's like a LED strip that's around there. It's probably diffused.
Part of me is looking at this and going, WTF? I don't know what you guys are thinking. And the other part of me is like, why did this not come out sooner? This seems like such a perfect place. And granted, for me, I think selfie mirror feels a little weird because it sounds like it does a whole lot more than just selfies. And the selfie thing is so trite that I absolutely think that's why I don't claim to do so many selfies, because I think they're silly as a thing, but yet they happen all the time. But there are so many people out there, marketing wise, maybe it makes sense, but I don't know, man. This seems like a strange but good idea.
Yeah, 60 frames per second for the camera at 1080p, and for all you camera nerds, it's about f2.5 to f4.0.
Well, if you got those lights right there, that'd be just fine.
Yeah,
so is this not basically an iPad Pro hanging on the wall with a glass, with a mirror finish?
Pretty much. I mean, that's what I love, that we live in a world where phone innards are so cheap now that you can take the innards and stick them into other things like a mirror.
What's it running? What are the reward tiers, and how much would somebody be set?
So it comes in a couple different sizes. It comes in a vanity size one, which is about 3 by 2 inches on there. They reported everything in millimeters, so I'm converting to US things because I'm conceited like that.
It's tiny
on there, which is where's the size? Okay, so they have the vanity selfie mirror. Okay, I think they screwed up on the measurements because they are I think they're in San Francisco, but I think they're from a European country initially, because some of these numbers don't match up, and I converted them. So according to this, is the table one's 22 inches by 37 inches.
Okay, because some of them in some of those pictures they look gigantic, so that fits.
So that's the one that you can actually put on the table on there, and that's $100.
Okay.
They have a one that's the small size, which is this one's it's 22 inches by 37 inches too. So I think maybe both of them are the same size. On there, just one you can hang on the wall, and the one you can have a stand. And then they have the big one, which is 27.5 inches by 47.2 inches on there. So that's a sizable full body one.
If I had an extra, this is.
Well, so one of the reasons one of the ways they actually promote this is as a blogger camera.
Right.
So
imagine if I could just sit in front of a mirror.
You could do, especially for those like makeup bloggers and stuff. You could just sit there and like actually put on your makeup in the mirror, see what you're doing, and do your blog at the same time, or show your clothes. I don't know.
I guess that's what they do. Honest, or the makeup people, they do.
Apparently,
that a lot.
Fashion is kind of a big category on YouTube.
Tell me about it.
never seen anything on there, so
You and I, we are not fashion people.
we hang out in the tech area
Yeah.
of all these. And I guess everybody shares the cat video area, but yeah.
I stay away from the cat area. I'm tempted to make one of these myself. I love this idea. It seems very thorough, and I'm really surprised again that it's like so simple. What a great idea!
And if you look at the dashboard, you can tell it's Android on there,
right.
But they've kind of made it really intuitive, where you can even pull up like Foursquare or Lyft or something while you're getting your stuff
so you make
ready.
A business version.
Yeah, a business version. You can even have tweets post up and everything while you're looking at the mirror. That's what I love about it, is a built-in clock, has your weather and stuff on there. So I could see, I don't spend a lot of time in front of the mirror. That's why I probably look horrible all the time when I'm on the show. But hey,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
But yeah, I like how it works, and I'm really interested in the tabletop version because I don't hang a lot of stuff on the walls.
Right.
But I don't know. After I've explained it to you, does it seem a little bit more interesting?
It does. As I look through the site, and frankly, some of the pictures I saw, it was like, okay, they're photoshopping a black dot in the middle of the mirror with a little bit of an Android off to the side. And I thought, how dumb do you think we are? Yes, it's a great
have
dream.
One that's working, a business version that's working somewhere. There's a video at the bottom, I think, of the page that shows a business one that's working.
And then they also have that factory production line where they show somebody like actually like putting it all together, and that's where I was kind of like, oh, there it is. So, it's a 2-second video. How great! What's the point of this?
I wish there was a little bit more on there, but it's not.
Did they think that was a good idea? Like, hold on.
But if you look at the team, you can tell they are definitely not native English speakers. And
that 2-second version has the same imagery at 6:32 p.m. as the stuff that they have up early. Like all the other demo. If you look at that, almost every other picture is the 6:32. That makes me think that it hasn't. I don't know. Kalkanakis and Kawasaki are on there. Of course, maybe they photoshopped that too. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm tracking this one. This was a track for me. It's up there, like tier wise. It's way up there. Like even that vanity one is $100.
But it's a fairly large mirror.
I think you're right. It's a giant tablet with an extra thing. I love the idea. It's a track for me. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just embarrassed by it. It's just weird.
You just don't want to be the guy who, anytime you have guests come over and they're like, why is Drew always in front of his mirror?
Because I'm constantly posing.
And you'll be like, hey, if you get one, you could do the entire show like that.
I could stand in front of the mirror and I would just look at myself. That seems like a great
show. Talk to the mirror too.
It's a wonderful show.
On that. All right, so that's the selfie mirror. And then, okay, you may not be as interested about the LED lights. So let's go on to our second project, which also feature lights.
Yes, I love this second project. I think it's what would be the word? It's got attitude. It's got some oomph to it. So our second project is called The Lampster, a lamp with attitude. And I think what I really love about this project is that they've over 10 times their goal already. I think they're almost like 15 times their goal. They're looking for $30,000 to make a lamp. Not just any lamp, but a lamp with attitude. So their video kind of explains how they really like old style lamps and how hefty they are, like old motorcycle lamps or old tractor lights. They're just beefy. So they went off and designed this lamp that is like a little dude, and his head is a giant LED light. Like it's I don't know. It just looks like a dude, like a mobile rotating head dude.
I love the distressed one. The distressed one looks so cool.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. And here's what I think I like about what they're doing here. This is as much an art project, I think, as a tech project. They've done a great job of breaking it down and saying, this is what we love. Let's make it modern. The fact that that dude's head can double as a headphone stand was kind of cool. It's like, whoa, that would be a great place to put headphones. It's got the one main LED light source that's like for work light. And then you can hit that's on the top of his head, you hit the button. But then you can also control a second LED with your smartphone and get it to change colors and moods or do disco dance party style. You have these opportunities. And I think that is pretty dang cool. So the fact that they put two lights in there, you can control it by touch, you control it with your mobile device. the light colors, adjustable light intensity. Even the first one, the main LED, you can hold the button down and do different things with the button to change the intensity of that light. 360-degree adjustable head direction. Everything's just made solid. They go in the video and talk about how there's the metal, then there's a base coat, then 2 layers of paint, and then 2 layers of clear coat, and the waterproofing, and it's just made well. I fell in love with it, and then the fact that they give you these choices for like each lamp. You can pick a single tone, or you can put a little logo in the middle of them, like like a little superhero,
Yeah.
or you can change out the artsy like things, or put letters on the side. Like they just went all out to give you this chance to make it yours. So for me, just that was a quick rundown, but it is really cool headlights turned into robots.
Oh, I actually
Sexy.
I kind of want to get one and actually use it right here because you see kind of it drop like my studio lights drop out right here.
Yeah.
Get
You
one
can
right
light
there,
it up, dude.
and then use it and use the LED colors to do a nice splash on there and different colors on there.
I would
So-
replace my key light right here with one of these dudes, and he'd shoot me right in the face.
And
And
we-
then in the middle of the show, I'd tweak with it. I'd be like, "I'm blue, da-da-dee-da-da-doo."
That's how we'll tell if it's a backtrack or stack is what color you change
That's
it
right.
to.
I'll start rolling with the color. So my only qualm, and again, they've hit their goal. They're doing really well. I love this idea of Lampster. They do great things. My only is that this is up there when it comes to reward tiers. The simple plain color one is about $150 to back,
Ooh.
and for a lamp, it's like, man, I can't even spend $15 at Walmart to get myself a new light. I'm using one from like the 1950s because it's what's in the room. So that's a steep price for me, but these are so beautiful. It's definitely a back for me. I love this.
The one I really want is the $180 one because man, that red artsy one is just I'm like, oh, I want
Yep.
it. So, I know you don't watch a lot of anime.
No, I don't even know what that stuff is.
So what this actually reminded me of is there's an anime called Fooly Cooly or FLCL on there, and there's actually a robot in there that shows up, and he has a head of a television. And tell me if this does not look like that lamp or not.
Very close,
It
yeah.
looks pretty close to that lamp, and that's what came to my mind when I first saw it. And when I'm looking at these designs, because
Yeah.
here's a blue one, there's a red one too that shows up in the anime, and I part of me is wondering if they were slightly
they're
influenced
watching?
on it. Yeah. This one's a back for me too, because it's cool and it's a fairly big lamp too.
Yeah.
I thought it was small, but then I saw this picture with the next to the guy. I'm like, holy crap, that's huge.
Yeah. I think that's what makes it like I would put that on my nightstand, on my main desk, in my office. Like there's so much cool about it that I would be like, I don't know, just it looks really well built.
Yeah, and I've had good experiences with lamps from Kickstarter. I mean, I still have the 8-bit light behind me, that 8-bit lit right behind
Oh yeah. I love that one.
on there. So yeah, this is
Yep.
definitely a back for me.
Back for me, double back.
All right, so we've kind of talked about lights and mostly indoor stuff. Now we're actually going to talk about something that would require Drew and I to go outside. I know Drew goes outside more than I do,
Yeah, it's probably true.
on
But
there.
still.
But this is actually something cool that I actually might go outside to do. So you probably hate this. Do your students ever fold paper airplanes in class and throw them at you?
No, thank goodness,
On there?
no.
But-
We don't allow
But,
that.
but that's
rough,
that's like a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
It's just nightmare situation. on
They
there.
actually, I take that back. Just this week, they took calendar paper in the we call it the cat cave, where all the students edit videos. So it's just kind of like a main gathering room with all my editors. You know which one.
Yeah.
And they took a big giant calendar page, and somebody did make a massive airplane, and they did throw it. They didn't throw it at me, but they threw it at each other for a day. This is true, actually.
So they might actually like this, and it might actually be. They actually might make get some media they could use for your class on there, because our next project is a live streaming paper airplane drone.
Oh,
That's right. It's a paper airplane, and it's called the Power Up FPV, and it actually has a camera on it and motors that can keep the paper airplane up in the air for about 10 minutes. Like,
Which is as much as most drones, but that
yes.
is interesting.
So what's even cooler is you can control this with Google Cardboard, and you're probably wondering what's Google Cardboard. It's that cardboard system that Google has put together that you can put together and make your own like VR visor without buying an Oculus Rift or something and strap it to your head. I actually have one. They're pretty cool on there. And so what happens is it's this like mechanical system thing. So you fold up your own paper airplane, and then you strap this the propellers and the cameras to it. Let's see if I can find a picture of the thing right there. So for all you video watchers, you can see the propellers and the actual camera on them. And then what you can do is, this isn't the first time they actually built this. This guy actually went to Kickstarter initially to build just a drone version of it, so it doesn't have any cameras on it. He raised $1.2 million.
Right.
But he improved it by putting a camera on it, and it can actually travel up to 20 miles per hour, which is nuts.
That is crazy.
On that, especially with a range of 300 feet. I'm like, holy crap. On there, so you can control it from your phone, or you can actually have the Google Cardboard. So you'll have this on your head right here and see what the camera's seeing, and then if you tilt your head up and down, that's actually how you navigate the.
That would be so impossible for me. I'd get so sick. I'd be like left, right.
Yeah. So you might want the controller version. I just want to see
Yeah.
videos of people wearing the headset and just going like
Wow,
moving
yeah.
their heads up and down trying to navigate this thing. What's even cooler about this is for this version, they paired up with Parrot, so the guys who make the Parrot AR drone
Yeah. Yes, they know their
on there,
drones.
to actually build this system. It has an auto assist flying on there, so you can actually have it fly itself on there. And so it live streams and captures to an SD card. So if you don't have a phone that you can live stream with, it will capture it to the card. And I think if you go out of Wi-Fi range, it comes back, or it knows you're close and it'll start flying
Right.
back on there. It has hot swappable batteries too, so that way if you're near your end of 10 minutes, you got to land it real quick, swap out the battery, throw it, and you can throw it back into the air.
Cool. Very cool.
I don't know. What do you think, Drew? Do you think this is possibilities?
I think there's possibilities here. I do kind of like it's almost like a disposable reconnaissance airplane. Just throw it and see what you can see, and if it comes back, great. Otherwise, you've still got the footage, or at least saw it. I scrolled down the page because I wanted to see some of the longer flights, because I couldn't quite believe that this was the airplane was going to fly. But the one I'm watching now has been like circling for almost a minute plus, so it appears to work. I've never made an airplane that stays up that long with or without a propeller, so that's impressive.
Well, that's what's great about it. It gives you 6 sheets of paper templates. So there's
What I would need.
different paper airplane designs they've put together to help you on there. So you could build your own, or you could follow one of their templates.
I see that would be just fun to try and fly that. But so this one is met its goal already. They've got some good backing. Parrot's an amazing partner to be playing with this.
I mean, they were one of the first that I know of in the drone scene.
Yeah, they know their stuff. And so where do you have to go tier wise? Is about 130 to get one of these?
Yes, I think so. For the basic level is 150 on there. That gives you one of the modules and then one of the backup batteries for the bare bone. If you want the basic package that comes with the actual airplane designs and the head-mounted display and the battery on there, that's going to cost you about 180 on there, because the early bird backer ones are all gone.
Because they're already gone. It seems like a great little idea. I'm torn though, because again, for me, being a video guy, at that price point, I would almost just as soon jump up to 400 and get a GoPro that then I would eventually put on a drone or something. I know there's some other things I think I would do. The novelty of flying an airplane POV is low for me. I'll track it, see where it goes. But I don't know. I'm not sure this one's in my wheel. It's sexy, it's cool, but maybe it's just paper airplanes. I can't get behind it.
I love it, because then I try to design different paper airplanes and see how well they do in the takeoff and landing, and
then you'd watch all the video and you'd
figure out how to modify
it.
it. Yeah,
That's cool.
Which is great. And like, I am kind of surprised at the range. That is some pretty good range on it.
Yes.
Yes. I'd be a little worried, because I think it records audio too, but when you're flying like that, you're just gonna be
right.
And they've tried to make it crash proof. It has a compass in it too, and I think that's how it knows if you go out of range and how to come back for you. So I think it's pretty hard to lose. And they said it's built robust, so it's really hard to break, which is always good, because one of the first airplane models I've ever built that flew.
Did you break it right away?
I didn't break it right away, but one time I threw it and it used a rubber band propeller on there. It landed right on the rubber band propeller and broke it, and I was all sad. So
That would be my worry. So if it's built robust enough, then you probably get a good couple of flies out of it.
So that's a back for me. And now it is time for the sack of the week.
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
And we got so many sacks of the week. We're featuring 2. First one,
people just suck this week.
Yeah. First one, straightforward. We want to BY PS4.
Buy as in buy, but without the buy.
Yeah, yeah. We want
to buy PS4.
There's a nice blurry picture of a potted plant.
Psychology is a hashtag. PS4 psychology gaming.
And then you skipped out on the great subtitle cell. Please give money.
Please give money. They're in Kazakhstan. Are they? Yep. Can they have PS4? Great. All right, I'll just send them one.
So we want to buy BY again PS4. Period. And we make own YouTube canal with Let's Plays. Please give money.
Let's back these guys. They obviously need.
They just need
$500 to the real. Wow. I can appreciate like somebody wanting to go through crowdfunding in order to get a little project going. They want to have a YouTube channel apparently with some Let's Plays. I can get behind that.
Yeah. It's when I see those things where I'm like, man, I should just slap together a half-assed crowdfunding project, one for the site, and
just see how it goes. Just throw it out there.
I could do better than these guys.
I didn't even think about that. So, they type like 6 words.
Yeah. I could put 7. On there. All right. So the other sack of the week, this one, to leave everything on a lighter note, is need an office where I will pretend to work. He's looking.
That's the name of the project.
Yes, he's looking for 300,000 euros, fixed funding, and it says everyone has a dream on there. So everyone has a dream. My dream is to have an office with a large street window where I will sit and pretend that I am working. Please help me pay the rent for 1 year.
Because I need space.
Yes, and the risks and challenges. Eventually, somebody is going to enter my office, and I will say, "Welcome. Can I help you with something? Please share and donate. If this gets funded, I will start a blog or something and post about my activity in the office."
They've really thought this one through. They've really taken it all the way there. Now, I would love a nice office with a big window where I could pretend to work. Yeah. I just love a window at this point.
On there, and
he has 3 backers. Yes, I'm going to point that out.
Yes, and his reward tiers are kind of great too. For 20 euros, I will whisper your name to the skies.
Oh my!
On there, and let's see, for 1,000 euros, which is great, you will name my pet hamster who is going to live in the office.
Oh, okay.
He didn't mention that in the project. You have to find that in the reward tiers.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know if I can condone such activity. A pet hamster. Wow, 1,000 euros. That's like a third of what he wants just for naming the hamster.
Yeah, and isn't like a euro almost double how much? So it's about $6,000.
It's about $6,000, which sounds about like that's pretty good for rent, really.
Yeah,
that'd be like 4 months rent in a normal town. This is an impressive little project here. What's this guy's name? It's Danilo from Serbia.
Yeah.
Yes, very well.
Okay. If he's in Serbia, yeah.
I want somebody to whisper my name to the skies, though. That's worth getting on board.
Well, let's start a project where we do that. We'll whisper your name to the skies.
Speaking of, I was really sad that earlier this week, the thrustogram. Remember how much I loved the thrustogram?
Yeah. Did that fund?
No, it did not fund. And I was the only backer with one of my other students who thought it was just as hilarious as I did. And I was really sad to see that didn't go through.
I'm surprised I didn't reach out and say, "Hey, we'll still make a thrustogram for you if you give us the money."
Yeah, send me $3. I would have paid too. I would have paid. So this guy,
hey, he's done better than the other one. He's gotten 22 euros in 12 hours. So
he's got a dream, and it's fixed funding too. So it's not like he's gonna milk you for the money. Only if he gets enough.
Those are all our projects today. So, of course, if you have any sacks of the weeks or if you have regular projects or news items, send it our way. KickCast at ktdata.net on there, or you can leave it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/KickCast, Or you can tweet us at Night20 for that beautiful man over there.
I'm yawning. I don't even know why I'm yawning.
Am I boring you?
I'm sleeping.
On there. You can see how much he works, but he
yeah.
still sacrifices sleep to come and be on the show, which I appreciate so much on there. But yeah, if you tweet him, he's probably like in a stoic, deep thought.
Yeah, you'll find me. I'll even send you. You tweet me, I'll send you my own stoic picture you can have.
Yeah, your stoic selfie on there. And maybe one day from his stoic selfie mirror. So he can stare at himself being stoic and send you a picture of it at the same time.
So silly.
On that, or at Ktdata for myself, or at KickCast for the show. All those places you'll find out when we go live. Of course, if you watch live, I always love it when you watch live. Head on over to live.kickcast.net or connectcast.tv/ktdata to watch live. Our next show is going to be December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas. Will Santa bring us some crowdfunding goodies? Who knows?
Dun, dun, dun.
And if you want to go back and look at any of these projects or news items that we talked about, head on over to kickcast.net and look for the show notes. Also, you'll find audio and video versions because I realize that you guys consume this in many different ways. So if you ever want to see something and you're in your car, head on over to kickcast.net and check out the video version when you're not.
Because I am damn fine looking.
Yeah, and if you're watching the video version, I'm like, crap, I gotta go out, I gotta leave. You can get the audio version there and continue off where you are. So
we think about you in every which way.
Drew, where can people find you, or do you got anything to plug before we go?
Just same old, same old. I am still partying over at Little Big Cast, and we are going strong and having fun, especially this PlayStation experience just went off this weekend. So many great announcements of games and things that are happening. So if you want your video game fix on the Sony world, come watch me at littlebigcast.com. Other than that, I am this close to finishing my classes and grading for this semester, and freedom is right around the corner.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye. Bye.